You are sitting with people you like well enough, and someone across the table is talking about their weekend. You are nodding, and somewhere in the middle of their sentence, before you decide anything, you catch it. A small pause, a slight lowering of the eyes, the voice dropping half a tone before it comes back up. Nobody else catches it, but you do. This video is about that weight. It is not about being too intuitive. It is not about being spiritually gifted. It is about a mind that learned to scan before it learned to rest. And if that is you, the real question is not, how do you stop noticing? The real question is, how do you stop carrying everything you notice? I want to talk about three things: where this kind of perception comes from, what it quietly costs you, and how to stop turning everything you see into something you have to hold. First, we need to understand where this ability came from. It was not born as a gift. It was built as protection. Here is what I keep noticing, watching people who carry this level of attunement. The ability did not arrive fully formed. It was learned. Usually in environments where reading a room accurately was not optional, where the emotional temperature of whoever held the most influence shifted things, and where missing a signal had consequences. The brain learned to scan, then kept scanning, long after those conditions were gone. Some people do not notice more because they are gifted. They notice more because missing things used to cost them, which means this is not a character trait. It is an adaptation that outlasted its context. The way it works is this: two signals arrive at once, what someone says and what everything else about them does while they say it. For most people, the spoken signal wins. For someone with this kind of attunement, the second signal registers first. Not as a thought, more like a hum. A friend says they are fine, but the brightness arrives half a second too late. Someone compliments you, and their face closes before the sentence is over. A room goes quiet, and somehow you already know exactly who caused it. Something does not add up, and the hum does not stop. Picture a Tuesday evening. You are at dinner with someone you care about. The word is fine, but the voice is not quite their fine voice. You know the difference, the way you know it in your chest before your mind has finished processing it. So you refill your water glass. You ask about something easy. You carry the knowing for the rest of the night. It walks home with you. It is still there when you are trying to sleep. That is the part that does not make it into most conversations about this. Then we need to talk about what it costs. There are three costs of this kind of perception that almost nobody names. The cost is not just seeing too much. The first cost: you carry what others are not ready to say. Someone says they are fine. You know they are not. But they are not ready, and you cannot force it. So the truth has nowhere to go. It just stays with you. You are not only noticing something, you are holding something that does not belong to you yet. The knowing takes up space constantly in rooms that have nothing to do with what you originally noticed. You might be somewhere quiet, doing something unrelated, and Tuesday's dinner is still there, somewhere behind your attention, dim and unresolved. Not every truth you notice is a truth you are responsible for carrying. The second cost: you close doors before trust has time to grow. At a first conversation with someone new, the warmth feels a little too arranged, the ease a little too practiced, and the door to a simpler kind of trust closes before it was ever fully open. Maybe they are kind, but a little rehearsed. Maybe they are interested, but you can feel the performance inside the interest. Maybe nothing is technically wrong, but something in you has already stepped back. Sometimes the instinct was right, but sometimes the accurate read delivered too early keeps a thing from becoming what it might have been. The friendship that never happened. The relationship that closed before it had a chance to surprise you. Not every accurate observation is a gift to the moment it lands in. The third cost. You become composed in ways no one knows how to read. You are the person who notices when someone else is struggling. You are not, in most people's minds, the person who might need to be noticed. So the check-ins do not come. The questions do not get asked. People assume someone this attuned to others must be equally attuned to their own needs. That you would say something if something were wrong. You would not. You have spent too long being the one who reads the room to know how to ask someone else to read it for you. I think the direction of all this runs the other way from how it usually gets told. The usual version says you see too much, so you feel too much, so you carry too much. I think the isolation did not grow out of the seeing. The seeing was built inside conditions where the isolation was already there. It was a response to an environment that required it. And then that environment changed, and the seeing kept going. The scanner was useful once. The problem is that it kept running after the danger was gone. The question is not how to turn it off. The question is what you are still scanning for, and whether what you are scanning for is still there. You can be right about what you see and still wrong about what it requires from you. So what do you do with a mind that cannot stop noticing? You do not shame it. You do not force it to become naive. You teach it one distinction. The work is not to see less, it is to carry less. Noticing is not the same as carrying. That is where the work begins. And there are 3 small practices, not fixes, just starting points. Practice 1. Name the signal, not the story. Instead of saying they are hiding something, something is wrong. Try, I noticed a shift. I do not yet know what it means. This keeps the observation without building a case around it. Practice 2. Ask whether it is yours to hold. When you notice tension, sadness, or something unspoken, ask, is this useful for how I move, or am I turning it into a responsibility? The observation was real. The obligation is optional. Practice 3. Let one thing remain uninvestigated. Tonight, when you notice something, try, I see it. I do not have to follow it. I do not have to solve it. I can let it belong to them. This is hard for someone wired to scan and respond, but it is where the weight begins to shift. Sometimes healing is not learning to trust everyone. It is learning that you do not have to verify everything before you rest. The goal is not to become less perceptive. The goal is to stop turning perception into duty. If there is someone in your life who notices more than they say, send this to them. And if this is you, tell me in the comments, which is harder for you, noticing too much or carrying too much? Whatever you have been holding without anyone to hand it to, you were not wrong about what you saw. That part was never the question. You do not have to see less. You do not have to carry it alone.